Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to revisit some internet history, and that is the saga around Shane Dawson and Taylor Swift. As you probably know, Shane has had quite a few mainstream crossovers for all of the wrong reasons, and one of those was Taylor Swift, so let's get into that. As always, I'm not dragging this back up to try and cancel him by any means. I'm just exploring some internet history. Basically, it all started in 2011 when Taylor got a stalker. He was harassing her through online messages, handwritten letters, and dozens of social media posts. And in those messages, he was claiming that he was married to her. He also visited her homes in Nashville and Beverly Hills, which are on completely opposite sides of the country, so he really committed to stalking her. Like, I know Taylor has a private jet that can easily take her to and from those two locations, but he does not. So to be able to get to those two locations, he really put in the work. Taylor never responded to any of his advances, and he was becoming more and more aggressive because of that. Believing that there were people standing in the way of him and Taylor's marriage, he threatened to kill anyone who got in their way. Some threats were even aimed towards her mother and father. In other messages, he said he carries a gun around to protect her. From Taylor's perspective, he was armed and dangerous. So in early March 2014, Taylor obtained a temporary restraining order against him, which also covered her parents. And then later that month, it was upgraded to a 3-year restraining order against the stalker. And that stalker's name was Shane Dawson. Kidding. His name was Timothy Sweet. But I thought it was important to bring that situation up to perhaps provide a bit more understanding for why things transpire the way they do later on. So while Taylor's dealing with stalkers, Shane is making YouTube videos. During that point in time, he was mainly making videos on his vlog channel where he would eat stuff and destroy things. But before that, he used to mainly make skit videos and music video parodies on his main YouTube channel, Shane Dawson TV. But with the YouTube landscape changing and the partnership program not being as exclusive as it once was, it was no longer becoming worth it for Shane to make these high production, costly videos. So yeah, he opted to make more of the simpler videos on his vlog channel. But a number of his fans still craved his old style of content. So he was inspired to make another parody video when Taylor published her song Blank Space. And in mid-November 2014, he announced that he was in the process of making a Blank Space parody video. He hyped it up through a number of social media posts, and what added to the hype was that it had been 9 months since his last parody video. So fans were super excited for it. Then on December 5th, he published it. The character that Shane plays in the video listens to some of Taylor's music and then becomes infatuated with her. But in order to take his love for Taylor to the next level, he has to take out his girlfriend. And the way that he gets his girlfriend out of the picture is very gruesome. It is like probably even worse than what they show on HBO. So YouTube was definitely not a place to upload something like this. And then after he does that, the next part of the video shows him stalking Taylor's character. He circles a place on a map saying that's where Taylor's house is, and also does one of those string board things. He then goes to her house, murders her security guard, and then breaks into her house, and then murders her, and then wears her face. The initial response from Shane's fans was, of course, of shock, because this was unlike anything Shane had ever posted before. But regardless of how shocked they were, his fans were still supportive. In the lead up to the launch of this video, Shane asked his fans to make reaction videos to it, so there was a huge surge of reaction videos to this music video.
Oh my gosh, more! Oh my gosh! That was too good of like acting. Oh my god! Oh my god! Ew. My god! Oh no. Oh my god, ew. Oh my god.
So yeah, the reactions were kind of similar to the ones on Twitter. People found it hard to watch certain scenes, but nonetheless, they were still supportive of Shane. But he did not receive the same support from Taylor Swift. She did not like the video, and not long after it was uploaded, she had it taken down. Shane was not happy about that at all, and he wanted all of his fans to let Taylor know that. But really, Shane should have channeled his frustrations into something good and done something like perhaps save the environment. And that leads me to today's sponsor, Ren. If you've ever felt helpless or don't know where to start when it comes to the climate crisis, Ren is the perfect place to start. Ren is a simple and effective way to make a difference. It is a website where you can calculate your carbon footprint by answering some quick questions about your lifestyle. Then you can offset it by funding a diverse mix of carbon reduction projects like tree planting, mineral weathering, and rainforest protection. Those are all amazing things that can make a real change in the world. And one of my favorite things about it is that you do actually get to see the change that you make, because once you do sign up to make a monthly contribution to offset your carbon footprint, you receive monthly updates from the projects you support. You get to see what your money is spent on, with photos and details on every tree planted, every acre forested, every ton of carbon offset. The conservation they fund in the Amazon is something that I'm super happy that is a part of this, because the Amazon rainforest is literally like the lungs of the world. That project gives indigenous Amazonians access to things like satellite monitoring and drones to help them prevent and detect deforestation before it reaches a large scale. And there are so many other amazing projects that you should check out at ren.co. So the first 100 people who sign up using the link in the description will have an extra 10 trees planted in their name. And I just want to say a big thank you to Ren for giving my viewers that deal and supporting the channel. So back to Shane. After his video was removed by Taylor Swift's record label, Sony, he stayed silent about it for a couple of weeks, trying to sort things out behind the scenes. He was given two options. He could do nothing and keep the video removed, or he could re-edit the video, removing all of the disturbing scenes out. Which he didn't want to do, because he claims that by doing that, it would be taking away everything that made the video good. So he doesn't take either of those options, and he chooses a completely different route. He enlists the help of his fans. On December 23rd, 2014, he uploads a 3.5-minute YouTube video titled Banned from YouTube. In the video, he claims that Sony took down the video because of copyright, but he argues that because it's a parody video, that they have no grounds to take down the video. Which is true. If they did use that excuse, they would be technically abusing the copyright system, but he clarifies that it had nothing to do with the copyright rules, and in reality, they just didn't like it.
They're using the fact that, it was copywritten. You can't do a copywritten song. That's why they took it down. But it's not copywritten, because it's a parody. If parodies were copywritten, Bart Baker, all of my other parodies, all of that shit would be deleted, but all of that shit's still there. But the reality is, they just didn't like it. It was too gross. It's too violent. It was just like, ew. And it's frustrating. My blank space parody is the only one that's been taken down. Why? Because they didn't like it.
He also brings up how Sony has much bigger things to deal with.
Side note, doesn't Sony have bigger things to worry about right now? I don't know, like terrorist attacks, but instead they're focusing on YouTubers. Side note.
At the time, Sony had an upcoming movie called The Interview. It was a comedy movie about a plot to assassinate the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. North Korea and many others weren't happy about the premise of that movie, and then all of a sudden, Sony got hacked. The hackers stole a whole bunch of data from Sony, like information about their employees and upcoming film scripts. Along with that, they threatened terrorist attacks at cinemas screening the movie. So yeah, Shane did not like that there were clearly bigger issues for them to be dealing with, yet they were concerning themselves with him. And then he asks people to tweet at Sony and Taylor Swift in an attempt to try and get his video reinstated.
Go on Twitter and use hashtag Shane Dawson Sony. Something. Tweet Taylor Swift and say, hey Taylor, what happened? Did you not like the video? I don't understand.
In his description box, he reiterated his call to action. He provided a link that would pre-write a tweet for you. It emphasized his supposed ban, and it included the hashtag Shane Dawson Sony. And he also suggested his fans comment on Taylor Swift's Blank Space music video, Bring Back Shane's video. But yeah, throughout all of that video, for somebody who claims to be an empath, He never once considers how Taylor Swift might feel about the video. I understand that he poured a lot of money and energy into that parody video, and I'm sure it would have been hard to focus on anything other than the fact that all of it was going to be going to waste. I feel like if he truly considered how Taylor felt about it all, then he may have actually taken one of the options that they gave him, which was to re-edit the video. I feel like that was a very reasonable solution. You know, I wouldn't have expected him to know about Taylor's past with stalkers, or how just a month earlier she talked to Esquire magazine about how she has a security guard with her at all times now because of the amount of men who have showed up to her doorstep trying to marry her, kill her, or kidnap her. You know, I wouldn't expect him to know all that. But even if he didn't know that past about her, you'd think that he would be able to understand things, you know, as an empath, from her point of view, and how she wouldn't like to see a character of her get stalked and then brutally murdered. Even in his video, he says that they used copyright as an excuse, but in reality, it's because of the violence that they wanted the video taken down. He seems to come to that conclusion on his own, so he must be aware that the violence is an issue to some extent, but he just doesn't seem to care. On Twitter, he posted a response that his network got from YouTube for why his video was removed. And in that email, the YouTube representative directly outlines that violence was a reason why it got removed. But then he does a podcast with Bart Baker, who is also known for doing parody videos. They're talking about why Taylor removed Shane's video, and Shane acts like he doesn't know why, and then Bart throws out that maybe it was because of the violence, and Shane still acts like he doesn't know why.
Maybe she just is really against violence?
Ugh.
I don't know. It's a little strange because it wasn't like making her look bad in any way.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
But-
she's like maybe she's a Scientologist.
So many people are pointing out the violence as an issue. His peers, YouTube, and even himself at one point. But he doesn't seem to want to acknowledge that it is an issue from Taylor's point of view. But anyways, shortly after his video was published, hashtag Shane Dawson Sony went trending worldwide on Twitter. He got a whole bunch of support from his friends and other online personalities, and as you can imagine, his fans weren't particularly nice to Taylor. Shane does apologize to Taylor if she's getting mean tweets. In his original video, he tells his fans to tweet at her, and then he later says on Twitter not to be cruel to her and that it is more of an issue with her management, not her. But he does later claim that it was actually her specifically who got his video removed, not her management.
And then it was gone. And I was like, what happened? The first day it was gone. And I got a call from my lawyer that literally her, not like her people, her, requested to YouTube that it be taken down.
Ooh. And then after a month of no progress, on the 2nd of February 2015, he announces that he is suing Taylor Swift.
I never thought she was an evil person until this whole blank space shit that she pulled.
I can't believe that.
This bitch.
And it was apparently her doing.
Her doing. We're suing, bitch.
You need to.
Not that we're gonna win, but you know what?
And then not long after that, on February 11th, the video is reinstated, but it is age restricted. At the time, he didn't confirm whether it was him suing them or whether it was the public outcry that caused Sony to cave, but they ultimately did. And then on the 2nd of March, he confirms that he is still suing.
You don't like Taylor Swift?
It's a long story. She deleted my parody because she didn't like it, even though I didn't make fun of her. Now we're suing her. It's a whole ordeal.
You're suing Taylor Swift?
Later that year on somebody's talk show, he did say that the video was reinstated because he was suing, but we don't really know what happened, like what was the outcome of that lawsuit, because he never mentioned it again.
Yeah, I made a video just yelling at her. I was so upset. And luckily the video came back up, not because she said yes, but because we threatened to sue and they couldn't win.
But what Shane did instead of following through with the lawsuit was bring up how much he hates Taylor at every opportunity. He may have told his fans not to be cruel to her, but he was more than willing to be cruel to her himself. He talked about how much he hated her in podcasts.
She is the one celebrity who I would punch in the head.
Really?
If I was given like a card, like, here, you can punch any person in the head and not get in trouble for it, I would punch her through the head. Like, she, first of all, I kind of love her because she's evil. People don't know that. She's actually evil. Like, she's on 4chan, which you're not supposed to say, but she's like one of the people on 4chan. She's like evil, like corrupting the internet. A lot of people know
I
about
don't
this.
even know what that is.
I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Right.
There's an amazing website with amazing people who I love because they're awesome. And no, so she's like really into hacking and really into like ruining people's lives on the internet, which is kind of amazing. But, so people don't know that. I knew that.
When Shane began doing conspiracy theories, he brought her up in some conspiracies and compared her to the devil.
Well, speaking of the devil, our next conspiracy is about Taylor Swift. Now, we have talked about her a lot.
And also in June 2016, he brought up the conspiracy theory around her being a 4chan user, but then a few days after he uploaded it, he mysteriously deleted the video. He also criticized Taylor when she gave Kesha some money when she was going through a legal battle trying to get out of the record label that she was in. He posted a Vine with the caption, "How Taylor Swift Deals with Problems."
Oh no, my dishwasher stopped working. Did that fix it?
When he posted that Vine to his Twitter, his fans were not here for it. And Taylor was helping Kesha to get out of Sony, even though Taylor herself was signed to Sony. So you'd think Shane would give Taylor some props for trying to help somebody get out of Sony, considering that he has had issues with Sony. And yeah, while he was taking every opportunity to shit on her, she was still dealing with plenty of stalkers. In April 2015, a stalker broke into her Rhode Island property. In May 2015, she got a lifetime restraining order against a different stalker. And then in May 2016, a different stalker was detained outside of her New York City home. I kept reading these articles expecting them to just be all about one particular stalker who was just repeat offending, but they were all different stalkers. And there were even more than that. She has had countless stalkers. That was just a few, but they are a serious problem for her. So yeah, I'm sure, as you can imagine, the last thing that she would want is some guy from the internet to make a joke out of it. Couldn't really find any updates for how Shane feels about Taylor now, but yeah, I'm sure he feels completely different now. This was a long time ago. Yeah, I just thought this whole saga was interesting enough to make a video out of. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drink water, be nice to animals. Let's take a moment of silence for everyone who has to deal with Karens. And I will see you in my next video.